Hello, I'm Christine McDonald from Rushing Repair Apiaries, and today I'm going to show you how we assemble our bee boxes. So these are all pre-cut 10-frame deeps that we're putting together today. If you are going into your local bee supplier and shopping for boxes like this, then you want to look for wood that is nice and uniform, no knots, no cracks. This is a really nice example of something that I would spend my money on. If you end up with little knots like this and this, they can crack out early, especially on the edges, and leave you with space that the bees can get through. So if you're able to choose in person, then opt for something without these knots in them. Now, what you're going to need to assemble these is some wood glue, a rubber mallet, a few wood clamps. We have two shorter ones and one longer one that we use. Some rags to take care of any dripping glue. And then we use a nail gun and small finishing nails. You can also use a hammer and nails if you're doing this on a smaller scale, and I'll kind of talk through how that would look a little bit different than what I'm doing here. So you're going to start with two short ends. Those are the ones that have the little cutout where your frames will rest inside the box on them. So these are kind of the front and back of your hive body. And I just apply glue to both at the same time. So I stick them together like this and glue on each side and the bottom of each little groove here. So you can see I'm doing 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then back along the other side. You want there to be enough glue that it's going to squish out when you hammer the boxes together, when you put the joints in place. Okay, now one of these is just going to rest for a second while I pair up the first long side. You want to make sure that your handles are going in the same direction. Not only will you end up with a really awkward to use bee box, but you'll also have a hell of a time trying to put them together. So I'm just going to line them up, and then I'm going to use the mallet to coax them into one another. Now, if these are really well cut boxes, this shouldn't be a problem. If you're seeing a lot of overhang and you know that those two aren't going to fit, then you'll want to take a little chisel and take care of that wood instead of forcing it. That way you're kind of controlling the wood that comes off instead of asking for a big crack. Right, and then we're going to do the same on the other side. So this one piece already has the glue on it because I did them both at once. We'll line them up. There we go. Now, they don't need to be absolutely perfect at this point. That's what the clamps are going to be for. For now, we just want them to like hold together so that we can flip the whole unit over and add that other side. First, we're going to put the glue on again. So again, sides and bottom of each little groove. 1, 2, 3. Always keep some rags close by because this stuff will ooze out, and you want it to. That means that you've got a nice tight seal between the pieces of wood. 3. Okay. Now I'm going to add the other one. Again, making sure that the handles are pointing in the same direction. Another common one is for a handle to end up inside the box, which is also not very helpful, so pay attention to those handles. This is a noisy endeavor. I do have earmuffs that I wear when I'm doing this on my own. I took them off because I'm going to be talking and it's a lot easier to do without earmuffs on. But between the hammering and the nail gun, a good idea to wear earmuffs, and then also when working with a nail gun to have safety glasses on. So now we can work on snugging things up a little bit. Now, when we start to nail, we do it with the box standing tall on the table. And I'm going to first check the square of my box. So if I turn it to you so that you can see, when I put the square in here, I can see that the whole thing is leaning. So I'm just gonna roughly punch it back into a square shape. So there we go. There we go. That's looking a lot better. Now I'm going to use the clamps to get this nice snug fit. So I'm going to put both of them up at the top of my box on either side. And I'm putting them up as high as I can without overlapping the joint. And that way you're not going to limit how tight you can get. Same on the other side. So up nice and high, but not over top of the joint. Okay, now this is kind of your last chance to make sure that things are nice and snug. So I can see that there are some little gaps in here and I don't want them there. So I'm going to use the hammer to try and pound them down, and if I can't get them with the hammer, then I'm going to use another clamp, a vertical clamp, a longer one, to make sure that those are nice and snug before I start nailing. There we go, those closed right up. I'll do the same on the other side. I am having a trickier time on the other side, so I'm going to use the vertical clamp, which is perfect because I'll be able to show you what that looks like. Wipe away that little bit of glue that oozed out. Now to do the vertical clamp, we of course put it onto the top of the box, but then on the bottom we actually put it under the table. So I kind of scooch the box towards myself, so I'm clamping it right onto the table, so that it's still nice and flush. And I'm going to put it closest to whichever joint needs that little bit of help snugging. And as soon as I tighten up that clump, I can see that the joints are fitting together nicely. So I'm going to leave that there while I do my first round of nailing. So I'm just going to give you a little close-up here of the box and explain where I'm going to put these nails. You can see that this box is actually pre-drilled for regular hammer and nails, which you can use. If your box doesn't come pre-drilled, then you'll want to do that before hammering in. So if you're going hammer and nails, then you're going to want to use these pre-existing holes. Since we're using the smaller finishing nails in a nail gun, I'm going to put 2 nails in each joint on either side of that hole. Now, once you get up to the top here, you can see, where is it? There we go, that there's a little bit less room in here because of the frame rest. So I'm going to pay attention to that when I'm putting these nails in and make sure that, especially on this last one, I'm right over on the corner. All right, so of course I ran out of nails as I was doing that video, but no matter. So I have got 2 nails in each joint all the way along both top edges. I'm going to take off my clamps and flip it around to do the other short side. So I actually just lower this clamp right down to where it needs to be. Again, getting close to that joint but not overlapping it. And then we bring this one up, and voila, we're ready to go on this end. So again, I'm checking for that snugness Pretty good here. You can use the mallet if you need to, or the clamp to make sure that things are always nice and snug. Clean up the glue. The glue oozing out tells me that I've got a good seal there. So this one is ready to hammer. Okay, so I'm going to show you a really common little problem. Totally meant to do this just so I could show you on the video. And that is that one of my nails came through the side. So that obviously will cause you all kinds of problems once you're trying to use this box. So you need to have a look for these and deal with them now. So I'm just going to bend it up. I'm going to use some little pliers to snip it off, and then I'm going to hammer that end in so that it's not going to get in the way. I'm snipping it as close to the box as I can, and then just hammering it flush with the box so that another one can rest on it. Now, we've done the two long ends. It's time to do these sides. I don't need the clamps anymore because I've already got 20 nails holding this thing together, so I'm just quickly going to put all of the nails in both of these sides of the box, and then we're ready to go. Okay, so we've put nails in all four sides. I've had a real good look for any little nails that might be sticking out and cause me problems later. We have built our first bee box. Thanks for watching.